4 to 6 weeks later.
Nurse Jessica, I'm pregnant! Or my hormones say I am.
Well, elevated levels of serum beta HCG are indicative of a successful IVF and fertilization. How have you been feeling lately?
I've been feeling okay, kind of nauseous, and I've been having to pee a lot. Yeah.
Well, those are feelings we call presumptive signs of pregnancy, but probable signs of pregnancy would be cervical softening, uterine enlargement, and Braxton Hicks contractions.
Okay.
Go ahead and have a seat behind me, and the doctor will be right with you.
A few moments
I
later.
haven't seen you in a little while. How have things been so far with your pregnancy?
I'm doing good, and everything's feeling good. I've been beginning to think about the health of my baby and how he or she will look like.
Yeah, so right now you're in the 8th week, which is the embryonic period. So your baby, all the basic body structures are formed right now, and the umbilical cord still has the intestines in it. But ultimately, it looks like human right now. And you also be able to hear the fetal heart rate at this time.
I've heard there's some genetic testing. What's that about?
Yeah, well, I have an informational video right here I can show you.
Welcome to Ask a Lab Tech, where today we are answering the question, what are the best early screening tests during the first trimester of pregnancy?
So you just found out that you're pregnant and you're about 7 to 10 weeks along, and you may be asking yourself, what is the earliest way that I can know the sex and genetic makeup of my child? Well, today we're going to be talking about 2 early tests that can help to answer this question. Oh wait, what was that? You thought I was the lab tech? No, I'm sorry. This is the lab tech.
Thank you, colleague. As an expecting parent, 2 things that you should consider are 1, a first trimester screening, and a cell-free fetal DNA test. A first trimester screening bundle consists of a nuchal translucency measurement as well as PAP and HCG level assessments. For a nuchal translucency measurement on ultrasound, if the neck fat pad of the fetus is enlarged, this could lead to an increased risk in heart defects and trisomy 21, also known as Down syndrome. Low levels of PAP, which is a protein made by the placenta, could indicate trisomy 21, which is Down syndrome, as well as HCG levels, if they're not appropriate for the gestational week, could lead to an increased risk of T18, which is Edwards syndrome, or T21 Down syndrome. You may be asking, how do we know the sex of the baby? We can know the sex of the baby at only 10 weeks of gestation using a cell-free fetal DNA test, and all it takes is a maternal blood serum test.
Before you reach 28 weeks, we're also going to be doing some blood testing as well as an ultrasound. And also, too, I suggest you have an amniocentesis during this time.
What's an amniocentesis?
I actually have another video right here to show you.
Oh, hi. Sorry, I didn't see you there. Today, I'm going to be talking about amniocentesis. This procedure is done when an ultrasound guides the needle into the amniotic fluid. This fluid is done with John and sent to a lab where they test it for any genetic anomalies. Fortunately, there are some risks. Although rare, and miscarriage can happen, fluid leakage, fetal injury, or infection.
I suggest talking to the dietitian to go over your food journal.
12 seconds later.
I'm your dietitian. I've been told that you've been keeping a food journal. Is it okay if we take a look?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So it looks like you're having quite a bit of sugar. I've noticed some flan, some frappuccinos in there, cookies, even cinnamon rolls. But because you have diabetes, I think it's important that you decrease your sugar intake. That way you can maintain a good blood sugar throughout your pregnancy. You also have a high intake of coffee, which means a high intake of caffeine. So how about we work on trying to decrease your caffeine intake, because too much caffeine won't be good for your baby.
Okay. But since I can't eat that, what can I eat?
Well, I did notice that you do like some nuts and chicken, eggs. Those are all foods high in iron, which is good, and that's an important mineral to have while you're pregnant. I encourage you to eat foods that have lentils or darks, leafy greens. That'll be really good because they have high folic acid. There's also foods such as like citrus fruits or the fortified cereals and breads, and just doing these couple adjustments will be good for your pregnancy.
Okay, I'm gonna go get some Taco Bell. I'm hungry. Bye!
3 days later.
Oh, it's the doctor.
Hello?
Hello, Alma. Your lab results just came in, and for the most part, they're looking pretty good. Your genetic testing is all negative, which is good. And even though your oral glucose tolerance test was positive for the first hour one, the 3-hour one was negative. So we consider that a negative test. One thing I will mention is that your hemoglobin level was a little bit low. You had a value of 10, and during this time in your pregnancy or your 3rd trimester, the value should be at 11 or higher. You may have anemia, which can be caused by either deficiencies in iron, folate, or vitamin B12. Make sure to increase your uptake in all of these supplements, either through your diet or in pill form, and we'll continue to monitor this value as time goes on. Is there anything else you'd like to mention at this time?
Well, recently I was sent to the hospital. I had some abdominal pain and some bleeding, and apparently I have uterine fibroids. I haven't had any pain or bleeding since then, but I was wondering what the risks associated with uterine fibroids are in pregnancy.
So there are several risks in pregnancy associated with uterine fibroids, including placental abruption, preterm delivery, miscarriage, and fetal growth restriction. Although the risks are rare, it may be necessary for us to perform a C-section if complications arise during delivery. We will continue to monitor you so that you and your baby are healthy. I hope my answers have been helpful. I'll speak with you again soon. Goodbye.
Meanwhile,
I just cannot talk enough about Darla. She is just the best doula ever. I think everyone should use a doula for the best birthing experience. Also, breastfeeding. Breastfeeding is a must. You know what they say about breastfeeding? If you don't breastfeed, your baby has serious physical problems.
Heck no, I'm not breastfeeding, and I'm definitely getting an epidural, but no C-section, and my mom and my dad and my friend all have to be there, and I need them there at all times, and there's no circumcision if I have a boy. I want him all natural. And have you heard about the benefits of immediate skin-to-skin contact? It's crazy. As you can see, I need everything done exactly as I want it, or I'll freak out.
Alma, you're so anxious. You just need to chill out a little bit. Have you ever used or thought of using CBD? It turns the little babies kicks into just little gentle love taps. Yeah, and also you might want to think about looking up some stuff about hypnobirthing. I heard that they refer to their vaginas as opening flowers during the birthing process, and that sounds pretty cool to me.
Oh wow, those are great ideas. Thank you so much. So Enfamil or Similac?
Might as well give them vodka.
So much later that the old narrator got tired of waiting and they had to hire a new one.
So as she comes for follow-up appointments throughout her pregnancy, we as the nurse need to make sure that we're educating Alma while also being respectful of her decisions. Things that we need to anticipate as the nurse include telling the patient that we really can't rule out the possibility of a C-section due to her history of uterine fibroids. Obviously, all informed consent will be collected if the need arises, but in case of emergency, Alma needs to be aware that this is still something that we have to consider. Regarding family, we will encourage family to be present during the delivery to respect Alma's preferences, but regarding her mom being present at all times, we will just have to tell her that we will make it possible to the best of our ability. There's no guarantee that nothing's going to happen that will need the mom to wait aside for a few moments. And then lastly, skin-to-skin contact will definitely help to facilitate that as much as possible for Alma and her baby.